Hey everyone, this is Heaving Bosoms, the podcast where two scholars recap romance novels in the most serious manner possible, while also cackling maniacally and making hose jokes. I'm gonna level with you. Our Patreon fundraiser benefiting World Central Kitchen is going amazingly, but you'll have to wait until next week for a detailed update. I'm currently operating with the most casual, mild concussion after the smallest car accident possible, and I can't look at screens for too long, nor can I math well on a regular day. So, by next week, I'll be able to sit down and dig into Excel and math my face off to get you firm numbers. One hugely exciting development, though, is that a listener emailed in saying they would like to help the fundraiser by matching the next $500 in donations. This community blows me away every single day, and it's astonishing to see what creative ways you come up with next. So thank you, anonymous listener, and congratulations on the huge, exciting life change that's about to happen for you. Ooh! If you want to join in on the fun, head to patreon.com/Heaving Bosoms podcast and sign up or increase your monthly tier. We're doubling all new and increased tiers and donating it to World Central Kitchen, after already donating $1,000 to Razum Emergency Response in Ukraine. All right, now, buckle up, because Erin and Nat are here, and they're going to talk about Melting Point by Kate Meader, a book that is undoubtedly for someone, but probably not for them. Here we go.
Hi, Erin.
It's going to be funny. Hi. It's going to be funny when we do this to the cloud and then we can't access the cloud. Like the cloud floats above us and it's something only Melody knows how to get to.
I know, like I'm going to be the one
like
recording
grasping.
it on my computer. Why didn't I just send it to my computer? What a dummy.
We're new at this.
So now Melody's going to have to send it back to me on my computer.
Should
I stop it and start it?
It's fine. No, just let it.
Okay, we're letting it happen.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Hi, listener. We've realized that we don't really know what we're doing without Melody. It's Erin and Natalie.
Yes!
So hopefully you ever hear this recording, because we apparently...
It's like we both have recorded podcasts, even on our own, and we still don't know how to do a podcast.
Nope. But we're here. We read this book.
We sure did.
I'm here with my Operation Enduring Freedom Afghanistan mug.
Oh, man.
Just in case it comes up.
There were so many things in this book that I was like, is this okay?
Yeah, honestly, yes. It's just like, it just kind of skirted on the border of like racial, but like maybe not. Like I couldn't ever quite figure out if it got there.
Also like maybe homophobic?
Sometimes, yeah.
I was like, what? And then also just like weird things about like how people view other people's mental health and like things like that. And I was
get
like,
over it, pussy, sort of stuff.
It's been 6 years, okay? Shouldn't you be over that by
Get
now?
over how you were tortured in Afghanistan. Listen, we've got a lot of recommendations for Kate Meader, so this may have been
the
an
wrong
outlier
choice. Yeah, I've read a lot of Kate Meader.
Oh, yeah?
I've read a lot of her Chicago hockey series, the Chicago Rebels series, and I liked them.
Okay.
So Kate Meader has been recommended a ton.
Mm-hmm.
But then this book was also specifically recommended. I don't know.
By Sarah.
I wasn't going to call her out, but Erin is. By your friend and mine, Sarah Whitney.
Morning, she was like, we read it. And Sarah was like, how did you like it? And we were like, ooh.
Oh, no. So, they're not all bad things. The sex was hot, I thought.
Yeah, the sex was good. It did have several of my hard limits in this book. I mean, scar licking has been noted as one of my hard limits. Marines generally are one of my hard limits. Rule.
We can talk about where Brady falls on the military hero.
I think we know he is haunted by the ghost of his past. I mean, very clearly.
Yes.
Sex stuff for the benefit of angels. Twice.
So many.
Twice? Like, how?
So many new formed angels now.
Okay, like, this was meant to be, when I cited sex stuff for the benefit of angels, making all of the angels in the sky come and make rain, I thought that was going to be a hilarious niche thing that would only come up one time. But it has now come up 3 times, doing sex stuff for angels.
And here's the thing, I just don't remember that being a part of It's a Wonderful Life.
Right?
I just feel like, Kate Meader, if you were going to steal that plot, you should have followed it more closely, because I didn't think that was in it at all.
Every time I make you come, an angel gets its wings. And then also strangulation. Like, guys.
Oh, yeah. Yes, there are all of those things.
Yes.
Should we tell them what book this is?
Yeah. I mean, I hope we did so in the intro, but this is Melting Point.
Oh, yes.
Which is a fantastic title for a sex book about a firefighter and a chef.
And a chef, yeah. Yes.
Like,
absolutely.
Spot on.
Yeah, so when I was talking to your friend of mine, Sarah Whitney, about us doing an episode, and I was like, yeah, I'd really like, I want to find a book that has food in it, because I love talking about food and romances. Not like food sex stuff. I'm not really, that's not what I mean.
Okay, all right.
I like when food is like a side character, in books. So she was like, oh, I have this great book. And she was like, here it is. And I was like, yes, perfect. This is what we're doing. It's also a novella, so we can work with that, and there was food in this book.
There was food. There was
food I would eat.
Absolutely. I really liked that apple sandwich.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I would have made a different bread choice, but that's okay. I like ciabatta.
I also feel like a fuck meal, like if you're going to cook somebody like a fuck meal, like jambalaya is not the right way to go. Because it's like a very heavy, like very rice
spicy,
expandy,
maybe? Yes.
Spicy, like also very greasy dish at times.
Yes.
I think that was a bad call, especially if you're like, if you're going to go for butt stuff. Like, I feel like it's maybe not a great idea.
Also, ginger soup. Carrot ginger soup in the same meal. Maybe there's some choices made, but that's okay. Oh, wait.
Sure.
Okay, yes. I was like trying to think about who fucked who in that scene.
I had the hardest time. We're eventually going to talk about the plot of this book, I promise. But I had the hardest time, for whatever reason, in this book, telling these two apart. I don't know why. I could never figure out whose head I was in, and which one was Gage and which one was Brady, and who was fucking who, and who was hung up on which thing, and whose trauma we were talking about.
Yes. Well, so should we talk about who they are?
Yes.
Okay.
Go for it.
All right. So when we open up this book, we are in Brady's head, and he's on a motorcycle, right? And he's having a daydream about Gage. He's having a daydream about how like sweaty he is and then also with a kitten, and then we find out it's actually a billboard.
Right.
Because he's daydreaming while riding his motorcycle.
Because in this world of Chicago, firefighters have
PR problems.
Because in this world of Chicago, you'll also find out I feel about firefighters much the way I feel like about Marines and Navy SEALs. Firefighters have a PR problem because one of them punched a cop.
Because everybody in Chicago knows all the firefighters.
Yeah, they know
all of the Chicago firefighters.
There was a media blitz around the firefighters, as if firefighters aren't always fucking the most beloved heroes ever.
Yes. But also, like I don't understand. I don't understand, first of all, what could have happened. And I think that was actually a problem for me in this book a little bit. And that's our choice problem, because there's tons of side characters.
Oh my God.
So many names.
We are aggressively in the middle of a series.
Yes. But it's only 1.5. It's only book 1.5. So like.
What?
Yes.
I thought you were saying it's 0.5 like a novella. You're saying that this is only one book deep?
Yes.
My God.
So I didn't think it was going to be a huge deal.
There's like a whole Afghanistan thing, a mayoral race,
There's at least two people that had one person that has like vandalized a vehicle, and then another person that got in a fight with a police officer.
There's a whole
and then
foster
two people
family.
died. And
there's a bar.
Yes.
Yeah. There's breast
so
cancer.
Much. Yes.
Like a lady with breast cancer that's mentioned all the time. There's like several couples. There's like a sister.
Yes.
Wow.
I think I should have looked, but I think book 1 must be the friend's book, Darcy, whose
It's gotta be, right?
engagement party we go to shortly.
Whew, yeah, it's nuts. Okay, so
anyway,
we've got a
yes.
billboard for a hot firefighter because he punched a cop, as if not everybody always would be like, congratulations if a firefighter punched a cop. Like, yay for the real heroes, the firefighters, is what everyone in the world would say. But okay, we've got to rehab the image of firefighters. So what we did was we put them shirtless on a billboard. And who paid for this?
There was
like
also a calendar.
Sure.
But later we find out that maybe also the mayor is in charge of billboards in the city of Chicago.
The municipality paid for this billboard?
We're not sure.
Like, these fucks already have a pension. Like, do we really need to be like billboards? I don't know. Anyway, so Brady's looking at the billboard on his motorcycle and he's having this fantasy. My favorite line in this chapter was Brady stomped the gas. I haven't ridden like every kind of motorcycle, but I haven't ever had one with a gas pedal. It's more of a throttle sort of vroom.
Okay.
You don't go with the feet. The feet are not the go juice. That's more of a hand sort of situation.
Oh my gosh. Did you ever think that you would have so many bing boom bongs about motorcycles on this podcast?
I'm a licensed motorcycle rider, and I own
that.
2 motorcycles that were gifted to me without my consent. It's for you.
Look at
gift.
it.
Well, one actually was for Rooster and one was for me. That's how that happened.
I didn't know Rooster had her own collateral these days.
Oh, yeah.
So, stops the
party.
gas. Yes, he stops the gas, and he's on his way to this engagement party for his friend Darcy, who is a tattoo artist. We know all of this about her. We know a lot about Darcy.
We are so in the middle of this series.
Yes.
There's so much. And she never comes back.
No.
So we are Brady. We come to this engagement party. So Gage, the other hero, is tending bar at
Correct.
the engagement party.
And he's got 3 giggling women around him.
Yeah, he's handsome.
Yes.
And ladies like him.
And blonde.
Blonde, like Thor.
Yes, exactly. He is oh shoot, I'm reading another book that has a Viking hero. I was like, he's like referred to as a Viking, but no, Natalie, put it away. That's a different book. Stop
and we
it.
call him Golden, like
Yes.
Golden Boy, with like not a lot of explanation. But he's making drinks,
Yes.
one of which is the cocksucking cowboy.
But he's wearing a cowboy hat.
Yes, and all these women are like, tee-hee, the cocksucking cowboy. And it's like, yeah, because he's gay. Like, I don't... Ma'ams.
He's not into youth. Just
Ladies.
take it down a notch.
He sucks cock. That's the whole thing.
He's literally telling you.
Okay, and the cocksucking cowboy is peach schnapps and Bailey's?
So, okay, but wasn't that a spread your legs?
The leg spreader is tequila, vodka, rum, and gin.
No, ma'am.
No, he's bad at bar.
Yes.
And then, like, he's
And
like,
they're
peach
at a
schnapps
bar
and Bailey's
where he
or-
was raised.
Yeah. Yes.
Peach schnapps and Bailey's sounds disgusting. That
This
sounds
whole-
disgusting.
No, yeah. So does just these 4 types of straight alcohol.
That don't go together in any way.
And then this girl's like, how about a sex at the beach? And he's like, the 60s called and they want their cocktail back. I'm not
Yes.
going to make it for you. And it's
Yes.
like, yeah, because she wants something drinkable. Ugh.
Yes.
Okay.
Gage also wears a lot of t-shirts with like logos, or not logos, like words on them.
Like
they're so
fireman.
catchy. So catchy.
Fireman
This one
logos.
says firefighter because badass isn't a proper job title.
That is the most, like, that is the biggest turnoff, I think,
Of
in
all
the
of these.
history of books. Like, having a shirt with your job on it and, like, congratulating yourself about it. Like, when people are like, nurses, the real schmers of the premier. Like, I hate it. I don't
care how true it is, you know?
I know. I don't care if it's true. It's firefighters, come on.
Yeah.
But, like, just congratulating yourself on your own job is just a really rough shirt to wear.
Yes. Do you want to know what Gage looks like?
Yes.
He's blonde. He's got silvery blue eyes. They're sparkling with dangerous invitation.
I actually liked that.
Smart-ass grin.
Uh-huh.
He also refers to a lot throughout this book his like number 4 smile in his arsenal, which I did actually really like.
I hated that.
Yeah, me too.
Numbers, they're smiles.
Well, it's a guy that he's not always happy, but that's kind of what's expected of him. So he has to kind of like
I get
put it
having
on,
different smiles. Like I understood that and I liked that.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like numbering them.
Mm-hmm. Yes. He's got a smart-ass grin, strong jaw with stubble. And then he's a 24-year-old playboy, we find out, with muscles that weren't gym bought.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because they're firefighter bought. Loading all those things from Costco into the car and bringing them back to the station.
Mm-hmm. It's hard. That's a lot of work.
Sleeping in bunk beds with your buddies is a real workout.
Mm-hmm. That didn't sound gay at all.
I mean...
I mean, in this case.
Okay, so, all right. So they're at this party, and then Brady proceeds to have a flashback to the time. So we're already, okay. We've met friends, 25 characters.
Yes.
It is difficult.
We're halfway through chapter number 1.
And now we're in a flashback to when Brady met Gage and then dated him for a while.
They dated for 5 weeks.
Yes. When the mayor of Chicago,
who's an investor in Brady's restaurant,
who used to go, all of a sudden, who used to go to Afghanistan with him,
like on vacation,
like school or something. They went to the same Afghanistan together. Who was in Afghan? So this mayor was in Afghanistan with Brady,
yes,
and then did do some like. Some captures and rescues and stuff with him. He was
captured.
Yes.
And then we find out, yes, Eli was the main, like, force to get them out.
Right. Even though, I guess, Brady was the CO. And then, I don't remember how Eli knew... Eli, again, the mayor of Chicago, knew...
This one firefighter. One 24-year-old firefighter.
To bring him to the restaurant.
So... Gage had been at the restaurant eating with his sister.
Yes.
They had, in case you're wondering what they ate, I already know about it. It's calamari.
High scale.
With
calamari. With bacon aioli.
Bacon herb aioli. Which I'm gonna make now. That sounds great.
Sounds great, but it doesn't sound like, because they were like, this is so high end. These ingredients are so fresh.
None of the stuff like that we're talking about. Yes. We're talking, I think what they're talking about is we're at like fancy Chicago bar. We're not at fine dining restaurant, which I think is a big distinction. You know what I mean? If you're talking fine dining, you're not doing fried calamari with bacon aioli.
And you certainly aren't calling it fucking genius, which happens.
24-year-old firefighters would.
Elegant and expensive, he says.
So I don't know how. So he was there eating already. Eli somehow recognizes him or like loops him in, and he's like, this guy needs to fuck the mental illness away from my friend. Like, is basically what he decided to do. Yeah. There's this like long handshake where like
Brady...
sustained,
Yes, a very long eye contact handshake, and Brady's like, if I touch his hand, is he gonna know like how fucked up I am and how like I don't want to be touched and like all of this stuff? It's like you don't even know this dude. Like it was very like it's a handshake. It was
definitely a lust at first sight situation for Brady,
for sure.
And he was not. He was afraid of like showing all of his like bad stuff right off the bat. Which I'm pretty sure if you just say hi,
it's fine.
Mm-hmm. But the funniest part about this whole scene to me is they have this weird, long, sustained handshake where Brady does not let go of his hand and does not say anything through the whole exchange.
Right.
No, Eli and Gage are talking. They're talking about other stuff. We find out that Gage cooks and... I'm sorry. Gage's handshake was firm with a side of sizzle. I just would like you to know.
Yes.
But they have this whole thing, and then Brady, like, realizes in the middle of it that, like, Gage is, like, kind of flirting with him, even though he's not saying anything. Mm-hmm. And then as Gage is, like, leaving with Eli, Brady just goes, call me. Okay.
And he does.
And then he actually does, which I would have not. Does say that Brady is a big fan of throwing the ball to the other end of the field and letting someone else fumble it, which I thought was a very...
Yeah, I like that.
I do too, because I've totally been there. Like, I'm going to do the minimum so that now it's somebody else's problem.
Right. I like that. I actually like that style. Okay, so he calls him a week later, then they kiss and kind of hook up. But, like, the thing is, I guess, that Brady cannot be touched in any way because of his trauma, which is fine. So I guess he just, like, gives sexual favors, and like Gage was like kind of not cool with that and wanted to like go on dates and wanted to like touch his boyfriend, and then because of that they broke up.
Well, and it sounds like Brady told him to like take a hike or something like that.
Yeah, well, also like pushed him away because he was ready to be patient, but he couldn't be. Also, from Brady's descriptions of himself, you would think he is like the ugliest, most horrifyingly...
He calls himself Freddy Krueger.
He says he has the face of Freddy Krueger.
Yes.
So I thought in that first chapter that he was in some kind of like explosion or fire when he was in Afghanistan that had scarred his face.
Yes.
And it does turn out that he has some chemical scars on his torso. But I don't think he does have face scars, right?
I think he does, because I think they talk about them again when they're at the bar, at the gay bar. He talks about scars again, I think.
But I always thought he was referencing these other scars that were on his body and were covered, and I couldn't figure out where this like face of Freddy Krueger thing came from.
Which is a burn, right? That is like that's like your face is burned off.
Right? Like, didn't Freddy Krueger, like, die in, like, a fire of some kind?
I have never watched it, Erin.
He was, like, a pedophile, and, like, people got mad about it. And then I think he was in some kind of a fire, or, like, maybe he was, like, electrocuted or something. I don't remember.
All of those together?
But, like,
wow.
That's the whole thing of Freddy Krueger, is, like, so I thought that that's where it was going, but no.
I think that it sounds like from later descriptions, it's a combination of, like, cutting scars and then also chemical burn scar.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. We'll get there to the Al-Qaeda torture times.
So that's pretty much the end of this chapter, right?
Yeah.
Like, we find out the back history, and we actually find out, like, from Gage's perspective at the end of chapter 1, like, Gage is not looking at him in the same way anymore. He's kind of he's holding himself back. Yeah, why wouldn't you?
And we find out that Gage thinks Brady is hot. We find out about all his tattoos, which are all food-related tattoos, like the...
All of
Brady.
Tattoos?
God, I keep doing this. Brady's tattoos.
No, he has a full arm of colorful feathers.
I thought he had a full arm of chili pepper, Scoville, whatevers.
He has a Scoville rating on one arm, which I also thought, like, Heat Firefighters was a nice tie-in, so, like, nice work. And then a colorful sleeve of bird feathers on his right arm.
So that's, like, very Ben Affleck of him.
And then he's got a smoke curl tattoo on his the back.
I was
going to
wait until the shower scene, but like the smoke lifting up out of his back collar, like there's no way that doesn't look like a fart.
It would look like a rat tail.
You're right, it would look like a rat tail, but I think also it would look like a fart. I just can't imagine any way it looks good. Smoke, just like...
It's just one single curl of smoke, like a cartoon. I think I might have to do some research into what that might look like. But it would always be coming out of the top of your shirt. It would look...
It would look like a fart. Got trapped.
We'll talk about it. There's deep...
your clothes.
The vapors are escaping.
Okay.
We'll talk more about it when we get to the shower scene.
So we learn about this relationship from Brady's perspective, or from Gage's perspective, which is like pretty much the same. But also he's like, listen, Brady has intimacy issues. Like, this is his internal monologue. He has intimacy issues because he's letting whatever happened in Afghanistan 6 years ago rule his life. And it's like, cool it.
Yeah. Truly, like, okay, should he be actively, like, trying to maybe address it?
Probably.
Sure. But also, dude's seeing some shit.
Yeah.
You know? Like, if it's what they say in the book, that's a crap load of shit that he had to go through, you know?
I also want to talk about how particularly Gage talks. And I know you want to talk about this too.
It's so bad.
Like, the way he's like, I want to go
made
partay and, like, shake my thing. Damn. And, like, he says something about Brady's southern fried ass during this thing.
Later.
Is he the one that says dairy do later?
Daring do, yes.
It's a lot.
Yes. It's not what a 24-year-old Chicago guy would talk about. First of all.
Thang? Shake my thang?
Yes. It was so weird. In this one, they spell out Dayum, D-A-Y-U-M. I don't understand. And I know that Kate Meader is Irish, and so I don't know if it's like, I'm not going to say cultural because it's all, you know what I mean? But it's like,
here's the thing, and I'm saying this as somebody who is aggressively Irish. Anytime things become aggressively Irish or like Chicago-y or like Celtic crosses and like Irish pubs, like my hackles go up, and I feel like, is this gonna get like...
Oh, did you not like it being referred to as, hold on, let me scroll up, a Disney Irish nightmare?
I didn't mind that because that sounded right. But like anytime things get into like Irish pride, I get a little bit like, is this gonna get racist and homophobic? Like I get a little bit nervous anytime I see like a shamrock tattoo or a cross. Yeah. And this is very into that culture. Yeah,
it's very all like of that. Yeah.
Chicago Irish guys. Like we have a full foster family, a very like
foster mutts, which I did not
like. We've got this Irish couple who own a Irish pub who have adopted like I don't know 25 kids out of foster care, seemingly all white. It seems like yes. I mean I don't know. I haven't read the whole series.
Yeah, I haven't either. There is not a person of color in this whole book.
No, I'm sorry. There are people of color in the book. It is the Al-Qaeda assholes, quote, who have tortured Brady and then also, quote, the Dominicans in his kitchen, because they are referred to several times as a clump of people just called, quote, the Dominicans. Although I think Javier is named a couple of times. So, Natalie, slow your roll here. The cool your jets. There are people of color in this book. Right. The villains, and then also a clump of kitchen workers.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a little rough, and then combined with like the Irish thing and like the very white foster care thing, like it just didn't feel right. It just seemed like it was bordering on something that didn't.
I mean, and this book was written in 2015.
Not long ago.
So that's not that long ago.
Okay.
Yeah. We're still at the party. We're still we learned about Brady's rules.
Go for it. Yeah.
Of engagement. Do you want to know what they are? No kissing, but Brady can kiss wherever he wants. No touching Brady, but Brady can do all of the touching. And no talking about Fight Club, but that just merely means no talking about his time in the service or Marines or anything like that, or the past. Basically, it was referred to as blowjobs for one.
I mean, it's not the worst arrangement.
So,
but Gage didn't love it. Okay, so now Brady has crashed his motorcycle due to gazing at billboard.
In the hospital.
And
the sexy billboard.
So, did I say Gage? I meant Brady. Brady crashed his motorcycle. So then Gage is there to pick him up. And I don't even remember the happenstance that...
Darcy is Brady's friend, also Gage's friend, and I guess
Sister?
Brady had messaged her. I think they're all friends.
Oh, okay. I thought Darcy was his sister.
I thought Darcy is engaged to his brother.
Oh, okay. Darcy made a really gross comment about like going out and like getting some like.
No, that was his. That was his.
Oh my god.
That's Alex.
Two separate characters. Yes. My god. Okay.
Were you referring to when she refers to him working his sex wizardry on unsuspecting gay muggles?
Yeah. So that was his sister.
Yes.
Okay, and she said something about him shaking his ass, and I was like, this doesn't seem like something a sister says to a brother. I don't like this at all. Okay, all right.
So she sets them up. She basically like says that she's going to come take care of Brady, but then she sends Gage instead, so it's a whole thing. And Brady is in the middle of abusing the nurse that's working at the ER that's just trying to do her job. And then Gage shows up and intervenes and takes him home, and he has just come off of a big long shift.
Yeah.
So he's lay tired.
Yeah. Because
he had four call outs, Erin.
Actually, that does sound like a very long shift, but Okay, so he gets back to Brady's apartment, which he said that the only place to sit was like one ratty tweed armchair, which is like the grossest thing I've ever heard. And then on the walls are posters of food, which honestly, like, that's bone chilling to me. Like, I think one of the issues in romance novels is just like we give a character job and then like character is job.
It's the only feature. Yeah.
Right. Like
no, this guy's a job and a PTSD.
Two jobs.
Yes.
Both of them have two jobs, right?
Yes.
And so like this author was like, what would Brady have in his apartment? Does he have an interest? Is he a sci-fi fan?
It would be less weird for him to have nothing on his wall.
Right. But no, he has pictures of food. Like, I would have done an about face and gone right out of that apartment. If I was like, ooh, I'm going to date this chef. And then I went in and it was like a baguette. A sizzling steak.
It's just posters from Chili's. It's just the cast off posters from Chili's.
But at the same
blown up menu pictures.
I mean, okay, you go into an Applebee's or a Chili's, they have tchotchkes on the wall, right? Like they have fucking clutter.
Like
and
weird.
stuff.
Okay, can we talk really quickly about the weird?
I'm all in.
Semi-local tchotchkes that you have at like an Applebee's.
Yes.
Where do they find it? How do they get them?
To tell you, because my college roommate was a Chili's general manager. Did I tell you this?
No!
About the Presidente Margaritas?
No!
Okay, listener, sorry. Natalie and I are just going to talk for a little bit. So when I was in college, I was roommates with this girl who was a manager at Chili's. Oh, no, she wasn't a manager yet. She was a waitress at the time.
Okay.
And they would have these competitions for who could sell the most Presidente margaritas, which is like a $25 top shelf tequila fishbowl margarita.
Yes. I have had one of those.
No one ever buys those.
Oh.
Like,
okay.
Oh.
Well, okay.
It's rare.
I've never had one. What does it taste like?
It's a rare occasion.
Okay, great.
Wouldn't you say?
I'm susceptible to sales routines, so I'm not surprised that I bought one at all.
So they always upsell them. They're like, would you like a Presidente Margarita or whatever? Yeah. So they would have these competitions. Are you actually accepting one? I'm not actually selling you one. You don't.
Oh, okay.
You don't get one. They would have these competitions for how many the waitresses could sell. And she like and the prize would be like a big screen TV or a gift certificate.
Sure.
She did the math. And if we just came in and drank the Presidente margaritas and then she paid us back for them, so we would break even and score alcohol, then still the prize would be more than she would have spent.
Nice.
So we were at Chili's, like, that was my favorite bar in college. Anyway. But she also knew because I asked her one time where the tchotchkes come from. And she says when a new Chili's branch opens, they mail them to you. Like somebody works for Chili's Corp and is like, okay, we're opening up a new Chili's in Chillicothe.
Yeah.
What can we put on the walls? And does like research.
Wow. Yeah. And then they like source the stuff because it's like local uniforms, like football uniforms and stuff like that. Wow.
And it is mailed to you.
That was your job. Wow.
I think it sounds like an outstanding job.
Yeah. You just go around, you like figure shit out, go to weird small towns.
Yeah. But the local Chili's people have nothing to do with that. That is all managed at headquarters, which to me is nuts that there's like a local high school jersey that somebody in like,
shipped
Connecticut.
To Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Ordered, was probably shipped to Cindy in Albuquerque. And then they shipped it back to the local town where the fucking Chili's is. That's nuts to me. Anyway,
that is
nuts.
True. That is nuts. Can I tell a really quick story about drinking in college?
Absolutely, you can.
We went to an Olive Garden in college, and I was the only one of my roommates that wasn't 21. And they were like, did you know that you can get like cheap wine if you buy appetizers or something like that at Olive Garden?
Really?
And so we went to like a wine tasting at an
At
Olive Garden.
Garden?
Yes. Yes. But let's review. Not 21. So I'm just there with all of my friends that are getting drunk on cheap wine, and the bartender like felt bad for me because I ordered a kitty cocktail, and he was like, I feel bad for you, here's 30 maraschino cherries inside of your kitty cocktail.
What? What? That's not...
It was like solid maraschino cherries, and it was so sweet that I had a stomach ache and I almost threw up because it was just too many.
That you would want that. What a weird...
Like, here's my pity in the form of maraschino cherries.
Oh my God.
At the time, I thought it was like, when he gave it to me, I was like, this is a blessing. And then after a little bit, I realized it was not a blessing. I was like very ill.
I had another college roommate. I'm sorry. Who? This is when I lived in a big house full of people. She had this scam where she would get a job at Olive Garden, and in the first 2 weeks they train you and just feed you all the food.
Yes.
And then she would quit. And that's true of like there's like maybe a 4-restaurant.
Red Lobster, Olive Garden, whatever. Yeah.
And so she had this thing, like she did the Peoria one, she did a normal one, she did, and like the Red Lobster, the Olive Garden, like she was dancing around these restaurants, and she got fucking banned from that like 4-restaurant conglomerate. Banned. Like, her picture's up, you know?
Oh, no.
In the Central Illinois Red Lobster. Like, don't let her in.
And that's a big deal.
Yes, that is a big deal.
Because where are you going to go?
Yeah, exactly.
Out for
Where
dinner.
Where are you going to go for a fancy date if you can't go to OG
go to Olive
or
Garden.
Red Lobster?
What if a date tried to take you to Olive Garden?
You have to be like,
I
they
can't.
know me here. Unfortunately, I cannot. Okay, we have to do it.
Oh my gosh, we're only on chapter 2.
It's okay.
Holy
it's
shit.
okay. This is gonna go fast.
Okay. Oh no, we're on chapter 3. That's
okay.
Fine.
So
there's only 11.
Gage is at Brady's apartment. They're kind of like dancing around the issue of like they're both into each other.
And Gage is trying to keep it very casual.
Yes.
Because he doesn't want to go through it again. And
right.
so he's like going to drop the meds and stuff off and then take off. And then Brady's like, and Gage is like, spit it out. And Brady's like, I would love to take a shower, but I can't get my shirt off. Which
he's dislocated
would be a great
his shoulder.
pick. Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yes. Dislocated his shoulder. He's got a concussion. He's got road rash. All sorts of things.
All sorts of things, which I think is very important. And he's also tripping balls on
Vicodin.
On Vicodin.
Yes.
Which I think is also important.
Important to talk about. Because we're headed to the shower.
Yeah, so we take a shower and... Okay, so Brady gets full naked, which should be a clue that maybe he's too high to consent, right?
Yes, but then don't worry because Gage is very worried that he's suffering from a case of, I wish I could quit you. So that's why he's kind of following through with it, I think, is because he's like, stuck.
Sure. So Brady, who usually doesn't show his scars, is now naked. Gage gets into the shower with his underpants
Just his underwear on. Yeah.
Gets his underpants wet. So he's like soaping him up and stuff. So he has, you would think, a sling still on with a dislocated shoulder.
I think they must have taken the sling off because...
But that would hurt like a bitch.
Gage talks about wanting to keep his arm close to him so that he can work him from behind, which really just means soap, just so you know. Everybody.
Yeah, but like... I feel like that would hurt like a bitch because the weight of your arm pulls your shoulder socket.
Yeah, and that's why you have a sling.
Yeah. I have never tried to dislocate my shoulder and take off my sling an hour later, but it sounds bad. Additionally, the road rash you would think would have bandages all over it.
It didn't.
But it did not. Open. And the hot water is fine, apparently.
Yeah, so is the soap.
Yeah, and the soap.
And Brady's talking in his internal monologue. He's like mortified that like all this Vicodin is making him like spill his guts and do things like that he doesn't normally do.
And then the other one, Gage, is
Gage.
like, yeah, so what do you want, like, sex-wise, for your shower? And then Brady's like, is this where he just turns to him and says, jerk me? Because that's a rough way to say, give me an HJ. Actually, I would have preferred give me an HJ to jerk me. It was very...
No, it's a wet hump. Hey, Erin.
What?
They hump first.
Oh, yeah, they do a hump first. Yeah. Brady backs it up. Yeah, that's the thing. He backs up onto the wet underpants of the other one.
Yes.
And then he does do a grind. And then Gage, at one point during this situation, has the thought, dad ass, which is, again, not something that a 25-year-old gay man in Chicago thinks. I mean, I don't know. I've never been.
I mean... I've never been a gay man in Chicago.
But I've talked to a lot of mid-20s
yeah.
gay men in Chicago, and I've never heard one utter dad ass.
Dad ass.
Sincerely.
Yes. So then, so they're wet humping, and then he's jerking him, and then he turns him around, right? So that they're facing each other, and that is when...
Jack me.
Oh, yeah! I had that written here! Dang it!
Jack me,
Jack
Gage.
me, Gage. Yes. And then he turns him around and he comes in jerky spurts all over.
There's so many jerky spurts and ropes and various cum things.
And then Gage uses Brady's cum as a lubricant to jerk himself off onto Brady's chest.
Didn't hate it. Didn't hate it when he used his cum to do that. Hey, listen. I also wanted to say that Brady is Cajun, which we haven't talked about. And especially when, like, sex stuff starts, he's...
Mainly only when sex stuff is happening.
Yeah, he starts with, like, random, like, French words in his Cajun accent. So he'll just, like, while being fucked, he will just be like, merde, and, like, bon toms, you know, like...
He actually uses
yes, he does.
Let the good times roll.
Yes, he does. He's very
in reference
Cajun.
to you may give me a hand job.
Yes, honestly, yes.
That's exactly it.
Oh my god.
Why?
So, in addition to when things get aggressively Irish, when things get aggressively Cajun, that also makes my cackles go up.
I actually looked up some of these words to see if they were even used correctly because it felt weird.
It does.
Some of the usages of them felt weird. I was like, I mean, I guess that's the right word, but it doesn't feel like the right
it doesn't. It doesn't.
Yeah.
If you're gonna make him Cajun, I would much prefer him to have, like, there are a lot of idioms and kind of like phrases that Cajun people use in English. Like, making groceries is one. Like, they don't say, go get groceries. They say, I'm going to go make groceries. Like, stuff like that would have fit really easily into this book, considering he's a chef. And, like, Cajun foods and stuff. Like, don't have him make an apple sandwich. Like, it seemed like these French words were kind of really jammed in there.
It wasn't a through line through his whole character. It was only during sex did he use Cajun words.
Yes.
Anyway.
So then they fall asleep.
Some of them do.
Yeah. Yes.
Some of them just chose to lay rigidly and not sleep, while other people should maybe have been paying attention to that person with a concussion to see.
Your whole function here is to, like, take care, make sure this guy administers his medications correctly, does not fall asleep, and does not have any kind of, like, you know, medical emergency, brain hemorrhage or something. And what he does do is he gives him a hand job and then takes a nap.
Has him take off his sling. Yeah. Gives him a hand job. And then immediately falls asleep.
Put some scalding hot water on your road burn and then gives him an HJ. Good job, firefighter. Yep. Good job, certified EMT. Good work.
So some of them go to bed, and then when they wake up, and Gage is like playing it cool. He's not gonna get involved, and he's like, yeah, well, I don't really have time to hang out today, but we can meet up at this club later. And Brady's like, I hate clubs because I don't like
the
people.
ghosts of my past float around me at the clubs.
Exactly. Yep, the base. And then he's like, okay, bye. And then we get a really intense case of shitting on Lombard, Illinois. In the next chapter.
Do you want to take this one?
I just kind of feel bad if you're from Lombard, because I believe it is referred to, oh God, it's like treated like it's where I live in Illinois, which is like the farthest you could ever be from Chicago and in the middle of nowhere.
Well, I think I grew up a little further from Chicago than you.
I know, but
yeah,
I mean,
same thing. It reminded me of that Matchmaker Susan Elizabeth Phillips book where he like grew up in Shithill, Illinois, so he had so much to prove. Like, was that Lombard?
Yeah, it must have been. I mean, according to Gage.
He says he needs arm floaties to jump into the shit pool of Lombard, Illinois.
I know. Which, no, I think it's nothing personal, Lombard. I think it just has to do with, like, that Hillview nursing home is in Lombard.
Yeah.
So he's going to this nursing home. We don't really know why yet. And then we find out he's visiting a 57-year-old woman who has done street drugs in the past, and now she's in early onset Alzheimer's.
She's got this weird combination of having been extremely religious, like Carrie's mom and Carrie. Very similar. And you haven't seen Carrie. I can tell by your face. Just not. How did this start? Like, how did this become about Nightmare on Elm Street and Carrie?
Erin, if you think that I can handle a horror movie, you are incorrect.
I don't know why I keep using these references. Anyway, she's like insanely religious, such that she was like giving him Clorox baths and trying to like exorcise demons out of him.
Therapy, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then also like street drugs. And I just feel like we could have picked one thing.
Yeah, but also like when they talk about his past, they don't reference street drugs in any way. They talk about her being this insane, conversion therapy person, religious, Bible thumping, and then they talk about her leaving to go join a cult in New Mexico, and that's why they went into foster care. So no, I don't know where the drugs came in, but they're probably what's causing her early onset Alzheimer's.
Yeah, fair enough. He said that she used to pop drugs like Jolly Ranchers, which is weird. Like, I don't know that.
Wouldn't you think like Tic Tacs? Like,
I know, like
breath
I know
mints?
I know people who have done a lot of drugs, like one after the other. Yes. So that they always have the drugs.
Yeah.
But I've never known anyone to treat Jolly Ranchers that way.
Keep them in my pocket.
Yeah. I'm never without a Jolly Rancher. I must get my Jolly Ranchers.
You know what? We always had Jolly Ranchers growing up in my house.
Really?
Specifically watermelon, which is such a weird thing to think about because my mom is very anti-candy.
Huh.
So, like, the fact that I always had Jolly Ranchers around is super weird now that I think about it.
I feel like you need to really, like... dig in there. Yeah, because like I rarely encountered a Jolly Rancher growing up.
They were around all the time.
Really?
Yeah. And I think they must have been bags of just watermelon.
That's very strange too.
Yeah.
I said flave to sound cool, but it didn't work.
Do you need... Damn.
What? Damn. I was just about to say when we get to this.
You're talking to me, right? Like, I'm not cool.
I don't know why I want to impress you. When we get to the bar, I just saw this page where Gage looks at Brady and says that he's very tappable tonight. Like, that's the equivalent, like saying Flav.
Okay, let's talk about the bar.
Okay.
The nursing home is whatever.
Yeah.
His mom does not recognize him. She knows him as John. It's whatever. Yeah. It's sad, and he doesn't know how to tell her that he's Gage, and he's afraid to because he doesn't want all of the negative stuff to come back, and he doesn't want it to be like his childhood all over again. And we immediately cut from a nursing home, sad nursing home scene
to Boys Town. We're doing it.
To a Boys Town club. And this whole scene is like a tool to show how slutty gay men are in Chicago, I think.
But like...
I was like, what?
And maybe like how not slutty gay... So he's there with his friend, Jacob. Who
is newly out.
Is newly out, and he's like at his first gay club is like why he couldn't cancel this to hang with Brady, because he was supposed to like escort him to his first gay evening. And then
which Jacob thought would would be less gay.
Would be less gay. I was hoping it would be less gay.
If I went to a club in Boys Town and then Gage says, if you want less gay, go to a Young Republicans meeting.
Which is, like, not necessarily true. Like, I've been to a few Young Republicans meetings that have been, like, very gay, like, aggressively gay. Not that I ever was a Young Republican. However, I have attended several meetings with them. Anyway, but not the kind of gay where they know it, I think, is the...
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So anyway, so Jacob is wearing, like, a button down and blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. So then Brady comes in.
Correct. Yeah. They decide to go to dance. There's a guy that comes up that wants to hit it with Jacob, and Gage is kind of running interference, and he then spots Brady looming over at the bar, and he like walks over to him, and they barely say 2 words to each other, and they just start making out against a pillar.
Yeah. Well, he says something like, you're going to tell me the meaning of the snake tattoo on your chest, or...
And if he doesn't tell him...
I'm gonna make you come in this club. Which I was very like, don't tell him. Like, that's very hot. Let's do this.
Yeah.
So then
we find out, no matter what, it was inevitable.
Yeah, he does tell him about that snake tattoo, which is a stupid explanation. And then he's like, I lied. I'm still gonna jack you in this club. So then he starts jacking him. Mm-hmm. And then he sees out of the corner of his eye Jacob and this other guy, Toby. Sorry. Natalie's miming what happens. With one hand, he's jacking his BF.
Jacking him.
And then with the other hand, he reaches out and grabs Jacob by the shirt collar.
So he's got his guy's dick in his hand inside of his pants.
Yes.
And then his other hand is holding on to the collar of Jacob's shirt, and nobody notices this?
I think they know.
Oh, okay. All right.
So because he says he doesn't want him to leave with this guy, and he says something like, you've got to walk before you can run, or something like that. Like, he's basically saying you can't have sex yet because you're too new to the gay community, and, like, you're not going to... It was really rough.
Yeah, so basically he thinks that Jacob's first time should be with somebody who is, like, aware that it's his first time and is going to be gentle with him and is going to, like, and that everyone's expectations. So he, like makes everybody go on a double date with milkshakes.
Yeah.
At the Melrose Diner.
This is nuts. This is a grown man. Maybe this is exactly how he wants his first time to be. You don't get to police other people's sexual journeys. Also, this is the situation where, like, Brady says, let the good times roll before he jacks him off.
Well, as, you know, they stop the hand job, and then Brady whispers into Gage's ear, you owe me a blowjob, Golden.
Oh, right. This was, yes. And then this was also the one where he said, the only good deed I'll be doing tonight is for the angels. Right. And then, I don't remember which one said that. And then the other one's like, the angels.
That was Gage, yeah.
Haven't you heard, every time I make you come, an angel gets its wings? And I just could not believe we were back
gets worse
here.
Later.
It does, but like I just couldn't believe that this is the third book where people have fucked for angels. Like, for the benefit of angels.
Angels don't give a shit, okay?
Angels aren't watching us fuck. Like, please stop making this canon. Like, please. Like, jeez.
Oh, man.
Is that like what, like... Irish Catholics in Chicago believe? Is that
probably?
Oh, God.
I mean, I don't know.
That's rough. I don't like that.
Maybe that's what like angels do instead of TV.
I don't. Oh God, I would hate that. I want TV.
Let's see what's on tonight.
Yeah, oof. Just imagine if instead of like Game of Thrones, you had just like 2 weird humans being like, and that was your whole thing. Ugh. That's rough.
They're just waiting in line to get their wings.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird.
So they go get malt milkshakes.
Yep. And then Gage has to, like, let everybody know, put everyone's cards on the table on what goes where. And I think this was presented as, like, a good deed.
Yeah,
you know?
which is
like
nuts.
So after they do that, it's like 1:30 in the morning. They go back to Smith & Jones, which is Brady's restaurant, and Gage is going to make them food. And
Brady.
No. Gage is making the food because Brady's injured. He has a dislocated shoulder,
right.
Erin.
I remember now. I'm sorry. I think that was one of the reasons why I got them so confused. Is like, they're both
Gage
trauma
is very
boys.
into making food.
Yes. They're both trauma boys. Brady's the chef, and Gage is always the one cooking, which is, like, very confusing to me.
Yeah, so this is where they make that ciabatta fontina cheese, apple, Granny Smith apple, rosemary grilled cheese.
Sounds fantastic.
Yes.
Really wanted
Put it on
one.
the menu.
Yeah.
Yes. Exactly. So that would sounds great. And they have like a, trigger warning, Erin, they have a cider with it.
Yeah, I do have an intolerance to cider, as you know.
Yes.
But also, trigger warning, they have public sex in the window of this man's restaurant.
I was just so thankful that it wasn't in the kitchen. I cannot. That is one of my hard limits, is like commercial kitchen sex scene. And it is like, no, I do not want that. Nobody wants that.
No.
All of the things that have to be cleaned, especially when there's food products around. One time I read a book where they were in the walk-in cooler, and I was like, no thank you for so many reasons.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was just really
I
thankful
think when we read that Penny Reed with the one guy, the Cletus one, I think they had sex in her bakery kitchen. I think that's the only commercial kitchen sex scene I've read for the podcast.
And like Cletus would never, I would think.
There was
You know what I
something
mean?
about how well he cleaned it. Like, I remember something about
I
it.
can't remember. It's been a long
But
time
I
since I
also
read those
feel
books,
like
actually.
if you own a restaurant, if you are the head chef, if you are the face, if this is your place of business, don't have public, like, sex in the window.
In view of the windows from the street.
Yeah, because I feel like people walking by might be like, Smith and Schmerv, like, I
want to go here.
there. Oh my God, is that the chef getting face fucked by that firefighter on the billboard downtown? Like,
Excuse me, Erin.
Yeah.
He was fucking the face.
oh, is that chef fucking the face of the firefighter on the billboard downtown? The firefighter whose image we're trying to rehabilitate for punching that cop? My God.
Yeah.
These are Chicago celebrities.
Yes.
We can't just fuck around in windows, you know?
Yep. This is a semi-public beager, and they kind of hot if you take away the public part. I mean, I don't really mind the public part either.
I don't either. I just think it's bad for business.
Gage, yeah, sure, definitely. Gage asks Brady to stand up so they'll have better leverage to fuck his face, which I thought was really nice.
Yep.
And then
It's a hot beach. Right
I
up
think all the sex in
until
this is
the end, where Gage whispers, "Ding-a-ling."
ding-a-ling.
And Brady hoarsely says, "Ding-a-ling." And then
What?
Brady says, "An angel got its wings." Oh, no, yeah, it's Brady. "An angel got its wings, Golden," this inexplicable nickname that I have for you that I've never explained. Two of those little shits did, actually. We're talking about angels that got their wings from both of us having orgasms during that blowjob.
Yes.
And then Gage throws back his head and laughs because his chef was one funny fucker. Every time they say the other one makes a joke and is so funny, it is never a joke. It is never a joke and it is never funny. It's always horrifying.
So then Gage says he's going to stay over at Brady's house, and Brady looks like he's going to say no, but then he says, sure you can as long as you do the dishes, which was also nice. And then we cut to Brady just feverishly trying to stay awake.
Brady has like PTSD dreams. So he has this, I guess Brady, whilst in Afghanistan, was captured by, generally speaking, Al-Qaeda. Just general Al-Qaeda's got him and his team, and then held them in some kind of Afghanistan dungeon for some time, doing
And
things like
specifically tortured Brady more than the rest because he was the CO.
right, doing like
give up information.
electrodes and knives and chemical
Acid
burns. And then he just refers to them as like those bearded motherfuckers and like a lot of
Yeah, it's really bad.
it's so simplistic and not very accurate in terms of like I just everything is wrong and simplistic and binary and kind of gross. I think.
Yeah,
Because if you Google Al-Qaeda, American soldiers, and torture, you're not going to find out a lot about torture that they did on our soldiers. And that's all I'll say about that.
Point taken. And it's... So basically, he has PTSD from this, and specifically, it manifests itself in nightmares. And he's never had somebody at his house before, but evidently he knows that he punches people in his sleep.
Ah, I didn't really think about that. Yeah, how would he even know?
He probably knows he has nightmares, but how would he know that they're violent to the point where he would be? So his whole thing is that he doesn't want Gage to stay over. He doesn't want anyone to sleep in his bed because he thinks that there's a chance that he might hurt them.
You're right. So, there's no basis for that. And then I think it's now a good time to mention, like, I cannot figure out how Brady just kind of miraculously got over his apprehension to, like, have people touch him. Like, it's kind of just hand waved that he was like... The
shower fixed it.
Yeah. He was like high during the shower, and then now that he's over that hump, it just no longer bothers him.
I wrote down a quote. Let me just scroll back up to chapter 1 where when Gage came on him, it was the cleanest he'd ever been.
Oh yeah. Like, he's done. He's good now. He's fixed.
Yeah.
Which is also like extremely simplistic. Like, just the whole way this Afghanistan war story played out. And, like, just the maliciousness of the torture, and, like, everything, how everybody, like, I'm not saying that ever happened to people that, God, it's just too simplistic, I guess, is the thing.
Yeah. So then I think that we put that conversation off by just having more sex.
Yeah, we do.
And then it's, like, the next day.
Yes.
I think. Whoa, the next day we cut from sex, and now we're back in the nursing home.
Yes. Another jarring nursing home juxtaposition. And it's like his mom is asking for him, specifically he's asking for Gage, not John, what the name that he's been going by. And then he thinks about calling his 25 foster brothers, and then is like, no. How come these, like, romance foster families never adopt any girls? Isn't that strange?
No, Alex is a girl.
Oh, she's not his biological sister, she's his foster sister?
I think so, yeah.
Well, I didn't even realize that she wasn't Darcy, so there you go. Anyway, so he calls Brady, but then, like, doesn't really tell him what's going on. It's like a just to hear his voice sort of thing.
Yep, and Brady is, like, sneaking back into work because he can't stay away from work and he's bored or whatever, and he can tell that something's kind of off with Gage, but Gage puts it off, and that one conversation, like, gets him back in the zone, and he's ready to go back into the nursing home, but his opportunity has passed.
Right.
And his mom's not lucid anymore.
Right.
And then we cut from the nursing home to a booty call.
Yeah, so we're going to have more sex. So now Gage is going to have sex with Brady. Right?
Yes. So Gage is going to fuck Brady.
Yes.
So he comes over. Gage is still kind of... He had done a shift at the bar, which was weird. I didn't... Like, maybe he does a shift at his family's bar. I don't know.
Why do we have to have two jobs? Like, why can't we have a job and, like, a personality instead of two jobs for both of them?
So then he comes over, he's still kind of out of it from visiting his mom, and Brady can see this, but instead of, like, actually dealing with it, we're just gonna fuck each other. And so then they are gonna go to the bathroom because it will be easier to fuck with the broken shoulder, maybe?
I don't know.
And also there's a mirror there.
We like that mirror. But, like, also... I think it's very strange with, like, the PTSD issues and the being touched issues that we're going to start with Gage penetrating Brady and not the other way around. Isn't that strange?
And it is strange to me, but he also kind of addresses it that he's like, he wants Gage to pour all of his trauma into him. It's kind of how he says it later. And he wants to give, like, he can't give him the words, so he's going to give him whatever he needs physically.
Yeah.
I think.
I guess, yeah.
Yes.
Yes. I guess that's the theory.
Brady
It
feels
just-
like he finally has something that he can give him in return.
Right. His butt.
Yes. Well, yes. And yeah, I mean, yes, very much. But first we
I
get
just love how you give
an
me like
enthusiastic rim job.
oh yes.
Enthusiastic rim
This
job.
is perhaps the most enthusiasm for a rim job that we've ever had here on the Heaving Bosoms podcast.
That's going to be incorrect, Erin, because Melody and I did that Alexis Hall book,
Oh really?
Something Fabulous,
Uh-huh.
where the heroes are, specifically one hero, very, very into rimming,
That's great.
giving it.
Good for him.
Yes. So I don't know the release times of these two
Okay,
episodes.
all right.
So this could either be
This could
the
hold the record for a little
Yes.
bit before the other one passes it.
And it's so funny because I have been on record saying to many people, give me more rimming and romance. And the two books that I do first on the podcast have so much rimming in them.
Listener, Natalie has been saying, give me more rimming and romance for like some time. Like we've had more than one conversation
Yes.
about it. So so
Yes.
congratulations.
I mean,
for you.
really.
Yeah.
It kind of, I accidentally happened into it both times.
But you know
and
what?
lucky for me.
I think we need more hetero rimming and romance. Like why is it only in the gay romance?
Exactly. I don't know. I don't know. And I think it might have something to do with the dynamics between like females rimming, like women rimming men. You know what I mean? Like that never happens.
No, that never happens.
I've read one Tessa Bailey book where the man rims the woman. But yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah. Listen, authors. We want more
You
people
have at
making
least
out with butts.
2 enthusiastic readers here, okay? Come on.
All right. Okay.
So we get an enthusiastic rim job.
Yeah.
And then, we have to turn so that you can see it in a mirror. And then...
sun and moon in the mirror. They look like the sun and the moon. But the golden boy is the sun and the other one is the moon.
in shadow.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Then Eli, the mayor of Chicago. I just love that the mayor of Chicago
He's got his fingers in so many little pies here.
The ex-Afghanistan, like the Afghanistan veteran, openly
He's got to
gay.
be 35, probably.
Super crazy hot.
No, I don't think he's openly gay.
We don't think
Eli
Eli's
Cooper?
gay?
No.
Oh, I guess I just assumed because he's like so in this scene. Like,
They had a setup for him to get with Alex, which is Gage's sister.
oh, okay. All right. Okay.
So I believe that's going to be a future book.
All right. Well, in my headcanon, he's at least bi because he's very in this scene with these boys.
Very.
But anyway, like and he's like people's sexiest man and like all this stuff. Like, what? This guy's like a character who's just like everywhere.
Yes.
But he goes to visit Gage.
Gage goes to visit Brady at work, and Eli is there doing
okay.
mayor stuff at a booth. He's got papers, he's got
Right.
laptops,
Yes.
and he's working because he's part owner or something. But like,
Post-its,
I feel like there's a
pens,
better
notepad. Just so much mayor stuff all over the table. He's got
everywhere. This is the
election
satellite
signs,
mayoral,
ribbons.
satellite mayoral office. And he like flags him down, and he's like, "So have you fucked away his mental illness yet? What are you waiting for?
yeah.
Why hasn't it happened?"
Yeah.
And then like Gage realizes through this conversation that he's actually in love with Brady, right?
Right.
I'm
I just
glossing
like
over
the way
it, but
that
I don't
like
really
Eli
know.
describes this torture is just like really rough.
Oh yeah, he
about
totally blows up Brady's spot.
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, has he told
Has
you
he
about
told
it
you
yet?
about
Oh,
those
no?
Al Qaeda fucks who fucked him up so much and like I don't
Yeah.
know, it sliced him to
And he-
ribbons and like all of this very like graphic descriptions of like very horrific torture.
But also it's like, okay, he was like, has he told you about that yet? No? Okay, well, too bad. He's lost his chance. I'm gonna tell you now. And what would you feel like if you were Brady?
Oh yeah, that's rough.
You know, and your best friend, question mark?
Yeah.
Like, just tells all of your personal secrets
Uh-huh.
to... It's really shitty. But evidently it works enough for Gage, and he just decides to make a date night.
Yeah. Yes. And then that's when Gage makes the jambalaya. No, this is when Gage breaks into Brady's apartment.
He gets the spare key.
Yes. That Brady has not given him.
No.
Breaks into his apartment while he's at work, prepares a jambalaya and like a romantic tablescape.
Yes. And Brady says at one point, I don't even know where this table came from.
Right. That's rough.
Because
that's
he
weird.
only has one armchair.
He just has that tweed armchair. What a weirdo. And then he goes to Brady's place of work and like makes him
off.
Leave, to which Javier and all of the other, quote, Dominicans applaud. Yes. And then they go back and like have so much jambalaya that Brady like pats his stomach like yum yum the jambalaya.
Let's fuck.
And then it's like, I'm gonna fuck you. Like I just and like in the butt too, like in the digestive tract, like just ooh man.
But before they do fuck, Brady slips up and, you know, they talk about how Gage is in his prime and you're not going to love me when I'm old, or no one's going to like me when I'm old. And Brady says, I'll love you when you're not, or I'll love you while you're hot, or something like that. And then I don't remember. Sorry if you heard my stomach growl very loudly.
Oh, mine has been growling as well because, again, jambalaya and food.
Jambalaya is so good.
Okay.
And it's lunchtime.
So now Brady is going to fuck Gage.
I think it's about time you fucked me properly, Brady, is what Gage says.
Yes. Here's something that I didn't approve of. This paragraph. Gage maneuvered Brady to the bed and lay down beside him. Then he used his lips and hands to worship the hero's body. Ooh. Sure. I mean, I do love a firefighter admitting that somebody else can be a hero. That's great. Like, I love that.
I think that Gage is that person, too, by the way.
Sure. But, ew. Like, it grossed me out. Like,
he does lick all of his scars.
Yeah. As an American soldier, it grossed me out. Then he sucked on his nipples, grazed those bumpy battle wounds. Which aren't even battle wounds. They're torture wounds. Like, and then gained his trust with every glance of his lips, which is like a verb I didn't know lips did. Like the whole paragraph squeaked me out. But then the sex is fine and good.
Yeah, Brady's dick is so girthy.
So I believe
it's so girthy
that one of them thinks in their brain it's a biggin, like apostrophe UN. Ooh,
yes.
That's rough.
That was for sure Gage. But I did think it was really cool. Gage talks about like that anticipation before penetration and before you actually have sex with somebody, like where the pleasure ceiling is limitless. And I just really liked that analogy. You know what I mean? Like that kind of like anticipation feeling. I described it pretty well. For me, but
I did like the sex in this book kind of overall.
Yeah,
it was good.
Yeah, I agree. But he also find out in this one, in this part of the book where he says like that Brady can't hurt him because he's built up this impenetrable wall around his soul, and then
but like what they're specifically talking about,
and kept it reinforced with his good humor,
right? But what they're specifically talking about is that Brady hasn't had sex in a very long time. Like or was this Gage? I don't know. Whoever's getting penetrated at this moment.
Gage is getting penetrated.
Is like getting, then I don't remember. There was some time where they were talking about like, you can't hurt me, and the situation was like more lube, and it's like, okay, but like I know you're talking about like emotionally, but like you can tear that tissue like very easily, so like that's just there isn't a wall of armor around your rectum, sir, so like we can talk in metaphors, but like also get that lube, you know. Anyway,
there was spit, which is as we know doesn't always work. So then we wake up in a nightmare.
We wake up in a strangle PTSD nightmare because that's what PTSD always is. is a nightmare where we fight people. I'm just so sick of like ex-soldier or Marine romance. Like, I'm just sick of this. I'm sick of this being how PTSD is. And it's just, I don't know. I know I've said it before.
Yeah.
I just can't.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he's strangling him because he thinks he's an Al-Qaeda. And then he wakes up and he tells him the whole story about like the ringleader and how like Eli got them out of there, but then left the leader for Brady to shoot, and then Brady couldn't kill him, and it's like, okay, like it's just so not. And I just really wish there were more realistic romance novels about the military.
If anybody knows about one, send us an email. So basically, it kind of, Brady uses this situation to kind of like shut down everything with them, and they try to diffuse it with a little bit of humor, and then it's like they're gonna have sex again, and then basically Gage like kind of tries to push for Brady to say more and talk more about his situation, and Brady is like basically says like he is not interested in anything more than fucking with him.
He's like, we're just fucking, like, he gets scared by his emotions and blah blah blah. So Brady like pushes him away and is like, we're not doing anything but fucking. And then Gage is like, oh, and he says something like, you're like this sunny disposition guy that like nothing bad has ever happened to, which is nuts because he was in foster care because all of his foster siblings.
Somehow Brady has changed foster care into like, because it worked out that he got a good foster family, that foster care was fine.
Yeah.
Which, as we know, is usually not the case.
Usually not the case. So he's like, you've had just this perfect cookie cutter life or whatever. And then Gage is like, yeah, no, not really. And then like also like, I love you, and like does this whole like love speech about why he's really pushing him away and blah blah blah. He also tells him to get therapy during this fight.
He said that, I don't want to not sleep with you. We could go to therapy together.
Sure.
That they could go to like joint therapy or whatever.
Yeah, and I just want everybody to know that by the end of this book, still no one has gone to therapy.
Yeah, no, they did.
They did?
Yes.
I missed it. I completely missed it then.
Brady is going to therapy. Gage is not.
Okay. I completely missed that line because I was like, we're not going to say that they went. That seems
I think he's basically says like he's going, but he hates it.
Okay, cool.
But basically, Gage is leaving, and he just stomps back and kisses Brady, and he's like, fuck it, I am going to say it. I'm in love with you, and it doesn't make any sense, but it's true, and you can say that you don't want to hurt me or everything, but you don't want me to see your scars, but those are just excuses. And then Brady's like, and then, so he's like, I'd like to say it's been fun, but it hasn't. And then he leaves.
Which is like really rough. This is the second time they've broken up for the same reason.
Correct. Yeah. Pretty much. Yeah. It's just that Gage knows more now.
So then we get a like heart to heart with Gage and Jacob, that virgin from the bar. And then
while he's cooking all the food.
Yeah, again, like don't make a chef and then the other one cook. It's so confusing. My brain had to really work for that. And then the other one, Brady, has a heart to heart with the mayor of Chicago. It's so funny every time. The mayor of Chicago, who did save him from that torture dungeon in Afghanistan.
Mayor of Chicago comes to his restaurant and is like, basically, I heard about your breakup. And Brady's like, how? And he says, I'm the mayor. I know everything. I've
been in 2 People's Sexiest Men Alive issues. That's how I know. Man. Okay, so then, both of these friends tell them to get back together, and then Brady just like arrives on his motorcycle, just stomping on the gas, vroom vroom on his motorcycle to go
to the nursing home. So it turns out that Gage finally let somebody else know about his mom, and he has told Alex, his sister, and somebody else that I don't remember. And like, because he was struggling with everything, and finally like told them what was going on with his mom, and then they again
betrayed his
boyfriend.
confidence. His ex-boyfriend.
Yes,
twice.
exactly.
His ex-boyfriend
guess
of 2 times.
Brady had tried to track him down and found his sister, and they were like, oh, since you're looking for him, we might as well tell you. And so then he comes to find him at the nursing home, and his mom is still alive but is deteriorating.
Right.
Is what it seems like.
And he's like, I heard about your mom. You have me and you always will. And it's like, I feel like if I were Gage in this situation, I'd be like, no, like, you've rejected me hard twice. Like, you're my ex. Like, you shouldn't be here. Like, I would have been a hard no on this situation. But Gage loves it.
Sure, yep, exactly.
So they love each other now.
They like hug in the parking lot, yeah,
and now they're back together.
They confess their love for each other. Oh, I did like the through line too. They brought it up a couple of times, like basically like I'm trying,
and
like he's like I don't know, and trying is sexy, which I totally agree with.
Yeah, I liked that through line.
Yes, so that was nice. That they bring that up a couple of different times, and then we're in the epilogue, I think.
Yeah,
and the epilogue is them riding 2 men on a motorcycle, stomping on the gas over to the Western Avenue, where Gage's billboard no longer exists.
Yeah, he takes him to see that his billboard is gone.
And tells him, and then
it's porridge now.
And Gage is like, "Excuse me, this should be a historic landmark." No,
he doesn't. He says that right. Billboard should be on the city register of historic whatsits. Historic whatsits? We're just 2 20-something gay boys in the city talking about historic whatsits and unironically talking about our hog in reference to our vroom vroom gas pedal motorcycle. I can't. All that military dairy do.
And that was the part. I think I texted you about it.
You did.
Because I just couldn't handle it. Mm-hmm. Daring do? I've never used that word in my goddamn life.
I've never heard it. I just said dairy do because that's what I thought it was. What is daring do?
Like feats of strength or feats of bravery.
My God.
I know!
These two talk like a middle-aged woman.
I think we're middle-aged women.
I know.
We don't talk like them.
You don't talk about that thing when you shake it.
I don't.
You don't say damn
They also
when you see a guy walk
They
down
also
the street.
Spelled out naked. NEKKID.
Yeah. You don't say it's a biggin.
No, I don't. I really, maybe I have if I was joking, but not seriously. So then I don't know.
They make out.
I don't know why they went there. They make out and they're in love and they talk about his new tattoo, which is a sun with a moon inset inside of it. Mm-hmm. Dark and light. A yin-yang, Erin.
That's them. The dark one and the sunny one.
It sure is.
Which is nuts, because they're just a couple of heroes, both with PTSD, clearly.
Yes.
Like, they're very, very similar to be painted as very different. But I guess their reactions to their trauma are different. And I'm going to stop talking about the book, because we're pretty much done.
It's pretty much it. I think overall, we like the sex.
Sex was good.
I do think that I wouldn't mind reading like another Kate Meader again. Maybe I'll go revisit the hockey series.
Yeah.
Because they also all do take place in Chicago, and I usually do like a Chicago book.
Yeah. I think for me, like a lot of the Afghanistan stuff was just really really rough. And I wish that
even for me as a I have only my media portrayal of Afghanistan knowledge, and it was rough for me. Yeah. So I can't imagine what it was like for you.
It just was very unrealistic and simplistic. And I wish that romance writers would allow PTSD to manifest in different ways, except for the obvious one. And I wish that romance writers would allow, if we're going to write books with military heroes, allow them to be haunted by the things they have done instead of the things that were done to them. And those things shouldn't be this fantastical and like cartoon villainy.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yes.
All of those things. It's complicated. It's a complicated, complex war, you know?
Yeah. And there should be more rimming.
And also more rimming. Although I would say this does get an A. I would say A plus, but now we know that there's more enthusiasm. I don't know. Solid A, though.
They were solid A on the rimming.
Yeah.
Great job, Kate. Do you have a lady love?
I do.
Okay.
Are you ready for it? It's a very Natalie lady love.
Oh, really?
Yes. So during hiatus, I was watching the Great British Baking Times.
Yes.
And one of the recipe times, they said, make butter.
Yeah.
And all they did was they dumped some cream into a bowl and then they just set their thing on. And I was like, surely not. Like, surely not you can just make butter that way. So then I went upstairs and I did it. And it did. It made butter. And it was nuts. And I strained it through a thing. And then I just had like a big butter clump.
Nice.
And now I make my own butter. Yeah. And it's so satisfying.
Do you want to hear next step that we both talked about a lot? Add some anchovies into it, Erin.
Are you kidding me? Are you fucking
anchovy butter
Anchovy butter
instead of salt.
Go fuck
instead
yourself,
of salt.
Natalie. No way.
Just saying.
Anchovy fish butter.
Sure, it's salty. Don't put salt in it.
Natalie recently introduced me to the wonders of anchovies, and it's really revolutionized my life.
Just love them so much.
Okay, I'll think about it.
Okay,
where would
I'll look up a recipe and I'll send it to you.
Where would I spread that butter on if it had anchovies in it? Like a toast? Okay, all right, okay.
Or mix it into your pasta.
Right.
Like, you know how you make a butter noodle?
Yeah.
Just anchovy butter noodle.
I figured out this new way to make pasta. I'm gonna do it the next time I need a lady love.
Great.
Okay.
All right. Because it's really good and everybody should listen to it. Was it the one you told me about?
I don't know.
With the cherry tomatoes?
No. That's how I made anchovy. That's how I made the anchovy pasta. This is a whole new way to cook pasta. It revolutionized my life.
Wow, I can't wait to find out. Okay. My lady, I have two of them. One of them is a very Erin lady love, which is kind of funny. One of them is buy yourself some good socks, God damn it.
Yeah, we had this conversation last summer.
We did, and I was like, why shouldn't I buy myself good socks? I'm really cheap, listener. I'm super cheap, and I don't spend money on myself, and so I buy clearance socks all the time. And I bought a pair of Darn Toughs, and I bought a couple other pairs, one specifically for hiking that were taller than my hiking boots, finally, after 15 years of hiking. And then a third pair that are just cute, but also good quality.
Wool.
So that they'll
last.
They
all wool socks?
Two of the pairs are wool. One is a cotton blend.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Yes, absolutely. The Darn Toughs are wool, and so are the hiking socks.
Yes.
Anyway, they're great. You deserve good socks. Even if it's just one pair and you selectively use them, I think you deserve good socks, listener. And then my second one is kind of similar, but because I finally bought myself jeans that fit. Your friend and mine, Holly from Wildly Tarot, she has been talking about these jeans from Universal Standard, and they come in all sorts of different cuts. There's like flare cuts and straight leg and skinny jeans, and they come in longs, which this is the first time I have bought myself long jeans in my whole life, which is dumb. I have long legs. So you want to know what?
Are you tall? You seem like the same height as me. Are you tall?
No, my legs are very long.
And I want everyone to know I've met Natalie in person like several times, and
I am taller than you.
You are?
Yes.
Huh? Like by a lot?
Wait, how tall are you?
I don't know, like 5'5". How tall are you?
Yeah, I'm 5'9".
Really?
Yes.
I think of you as exactly my height.
That's funny. So my jeans are always like 3 inches shorter than my shoes.
Yeah, you're tall.
And I wear tall, fun socks to bridge the gap all the time. And I finally bought myself long jeans for the first time ever, and my jeans come down to my pants. So anyway, Universal Standard jeans, they're awesome. They're very size inclusive. I think they go up to, I can't remember the size, but they have a very long size range. And you can buy them high rise, you can buy them mid rise, you can buy whatever the fuck jeans you want, and they're awesome. I bought 3 pairs for myself.
Cool.
Buy yourself jeans that fit, and it will change your whole life.
Yeah, this has been my lady love before too. If your body is different, just buy the different clothes.
Well, and these were $35 on their denim sale. Like that's not
spendy.
No, exactly. Like, I'm paying $20 for jeans that don't fit.
Right,
on clearance. You know what I mean? Why not spend $15 more and have them fit?
Totally.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. You can find us Instagram at Heaving Bosoms, on Twitter at Heaving_Bosoms, on Facebook, just search us, or you can join the Facebook group, which is the Heaving Bosoms Geriatric Friendship Cult.
Mm-hmm.
Answer the questions if you do. I just cleaned out like 50 of you who didn't answer the questions. Like, answer the questions. I'm just like, they don't have to be smart.
So I think what's happening is someone's inviting someone else.
Yeah, sometimes, but sometimes people just aren't answering.
Yeah,
so it's rough.
That's dumb.
And your answer for all the questions can't just be my wife. You know, like I need something. So
Or you could lie.
Yeah,
you could just lie.
But there are a lot of like what appear to be husbands that are like, my wife wants me in here. I don't know. And it's like, well, that's not good enough for me. Like, we don't want you. And where else?
We're not like super exclusive, but we're more exclusive.
We're more exclusive than that. We used to let the husbands in, and that really blew up in our faces. So the website is heavingbosoms.com, where you can find all our merch and our Patreon content. We're reading that Nesta book for Akkoshmerv.
Yes.
And the Heaving Bosoms Reading Embrace and other stuff.
Yes.
And
we're going to be releasing our Scientists in 2022 survey results online on our Instagram. So keep your eyes out for fun graphs and charts and data.
Well, I'm very into that as a scientist myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Did you see the most recent piece of data we put out?
I did. That there is a statistically significant number of people whose favorite episode they wrote as Erin is flustered.
Yes. And there was like more than one of you guys.
Yeah.
Listen.
Like I said,
listed that.
Statistically significant. Like enough to put it in the graph of like, it was higher than other things.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it was in the middle of the road.
Yeah, it's rough.
I appreciated that.
All right. Well, keep being a badass and...
Love yourself as much as you love shaking that thing.
Shaking that thing. Merde.
We're gonna have a dance party.
It's rough. So rough.
Hey, you. Yes, listener, you. Are you loving the show? If so, please leave a rating and review in your podcast app. The 90 seconds you take to say something nice not only helps new people find the show, but it makes me super smile over at HBHQ. Also, I've had a few people ask, and the answer is yes. We are still doing the 5-star bribe. If you leave us a review with 5 stars, then we'll do whatever book you want. We're real deep into the list, though, so it might be a while. Lilas! Okay, back to the show.